So tell me about that first time. Where were you? What was the setting like? Were you freaked out? Were you
I will just
nervous?
say, for legal purposes, this was not in the U.S. No, joking. I was with a group of friends, and in a very relaxed setting. We had some DMT, and we decided to. We were all, discussing different problems in our life, and we decided, let's relax and sort of try to press the reset button, and wake up tomorrow like refreshed and amazing. And basically, I'm lying on the couch, and, vaporizing some DMT, not really feeling any effects, smoke some more. A lot of the other people in the room had already started to feel it because they had some experience with it, and just maybe their brains are more susceptible or, more open to the psychedelics. So it took me a little bit of time to actually start seeing anything, and I closed my eyes, and the first thing that happened was sort of almost like what I would expected. If like somebody takes acid or something, there was like a lot of geometric shapes, and they were very bright and colorful and like spinning and making like these beautiful, amazing, like sacred geometry patterns, and I'm going, wow, this is the most amazing screensaver I've ever seen in my life. Like, I'm like, this doesn't seem meaningful or anything, but this is beautiful. Like, I could never imagine seeing these patterns and shapes and just the way it was going ever in my life. And I'm just like, wow, this is just beautiful. Like, I feel like all of my neurons are like firing in some kind of beautiful pattern that will never happen again. I'm just like, most beautiful sunset ever. But then things started changing. So I started having, it was almost like it became sort of like a little bit of a video game. This is very bizarre, but I saw like little cartoon cats walking around, and like there's ice cream cones. It was weird. And then I'm going, okay, I don't know whether this is gonna start going off the deep end. But after that played out a while, there was like a distortion of the reality there. Like the what I was seeing was no longer like a 3D world. It became like a 4D world, which it was like time and space was bending. And then I had the sensation of starting to fall, which was really interesting. Should have been terrifying at the moment because like it was like I was falling into a black hole. That's what it felt like. But falling, 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 and finally I sort of fell, and then I felt like I was floating, and it was very white, like sparkly type world. And literally, it sounds really cheesy, but it sounded sort of like heaven like, where there's like clouds, and just like it felt like I was with like deceased, really amazing, important people. Like, and I was surrounded by like people that were like influential but cared about me and wanted me to be there and be safe. It was like just an oddly emotional feeling. It was very abstract. And then, like, the last thing that I remember from that first trip was like, it was almost like the Last Supper setting. Like, and I'm not even a deeply religious person. I was raised Catholic, but literally, it felt like I was sitting at the Last Supper, and it was just like, this was completely normal. And then right after that, then I woke up, and I was just like, did I just go to heaven? This is a really, this is bizarre. Like, that's not, I started off seeing shapes, and then there were cats, and then I felt like I fell out of space and ended up at the Last Supper in heaven or something. It was just such a weird, bizarre experience. And they're like, my friends were like, yeah, a lot of us have had similar experiences. It's like crossing over. And I'm going, crossing over where? They're like, oh, to the other side. And I'm going, none of this makes sense to me. It wasn't scary. It was fun. It was very interesting to have a like spiritual experience at the end, because again, I don't consider myself spiritual, and I'm going, why would my brain take me there, out of all the places? But I felt safe, I felt comfortable, I felt accepted, and that was just an interesting place at the time, because I was going through some emotional turmoil, and I didn't feel safe or welcome or like I had friends, and it just felt at the end like it was okay and I was loved. And that was a really nice thing, and it made me want to go try it again at some other point.
Wow.
No, it was insane. And all this happened over like 6 minutes, but to me, it felt like this was like maybe 2 or 3 hours, and it was just like, oh no, you were just in there for 6 minutes. It blows my mind sometimes thinking about this, because the old me would have never been able to rationalize that. It was just like, okay, let's just forget that happened. That was weird, or you're mentally ill or something. That's what you're trained to think. If you're having these experiences, your brain isn't working, or it's doing something weird, or for a neuroscientist point of view, well, that's just this neuron overfiring and releasing too much glutamate, and it's all chemical response. But the fact that my body took a chemical and decided to give me a feeling of comfort and spirituality, and sort of went that way with it, was nice. And I think our bodies have an innate ability to heal themselves, and that's amazing. And not many people know how to unlock that in themselves. And I can't wait for the time where I can have another experience with it.
And so you say you originally sought out the DMT to help deal with childhood trauma. I think we've really lost our ways to purge this trauma in Western society. We've lost a lot of the ancient traditions and ancient medicines that allowed people to do so. And instead, we're being given medicines that are more of a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. They don't actually get to the core to treat that trauma. How did DMT help you deal with your childhood trauma?
I've even had trips where I felt like I was lifted up, and it's very odd to describe this, but it feels like there's these tall people that are standing up like almost over the earth and looking down on us, and like they're gods or whatever that they are, but they have like a big eye. And I've had one trip where literally I felt like I was looking through their eye at the world below, and like I was a caretaker. I cared about the beings below, and I had this sense that no matter why I'm here, it's okay. I don't need to know, but to know that I'm here for a reason, that I'm cared about, that there's someone always watching and taking care of my world and my people and my friends and my earth, and that it's okay, and that we're all connected. Like we're all, like all those beings, we're all like encircled around like the earth, and like touching each other, and like infusing their energy in the earth. And I just felt that power and that love and that compassion. And I just felt like I needed to bring that love and compassion of everyone back into the world with me. And that feeling alone has just tremendously changed, what my focus is. My focus is now on healing people, helping people. It really wasn't about that before. It was really about data and finding results and presenting results. It wasn't about the people, even though I said I wanted to help people. It was really about, almost like the office grind, do a research study, find results, publish them, basically job security, do a lot of busy work to make sure you have a job the next day, whether it's helping people, it's not, you're just researching the minutia of something doesn't really matter, at the end of the day. I decided to take all of my knowledge and all of my energy and figure out, how do I help humanity? How do I move things forward? How do I really make a difference?